Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. All right, this video is going to be a little different than the other videos that I've done. Now, you guys, we've all heard about Andrew. We've all heard about what's happened with Andrew. But some new information has come out. So I've decided to go back to the videos that I've done last year and 9 months ago. And I spliced together that information. So if you're new to my channel, you haven't seen any of this. And those who have, it's just a refresher. And then at the end, we'll be adding in the new information to bring everybody up to speed. Okay, so hang on to your hats because this is a big one. Here we go. Also, I want to add that to get this video approved, I had to clip out any R words, S words. You're going to notice some spots. You know what words belong there, but I clipped them out so that the video would be acceptable. Okay, that's what that's about. All right, let's go. Omid Scobie could not wait to report that Virginia, I hope I say her name right, Guffrey, filed a lawsuit in New York federal court against Prince Andrew, claiming that he at Epstein's Manhattan mansion and elsewhere when she was under the age of 18. Now, just for clarification, this is a civil suit. He's not under arrest. He can't be extradited. There's no prison involved. This is simply a civil suit for money. That's all this is. So what the lawsuit says is that essentially 20 years ago, and I'm quoting, 20 years ago, Prince Andrew's wealth, power, position, and connections enabled him to abuse a frightened, vulnerable child with no one there to help her. Now, the interesting thing is she fully admits, to start with, first part, she admits that she was 17 years old at the time that this supposedly happened. Right now, in New York, since 2017, the age of consent is 17. Before that, before 2017, the age of consent was 14. So even, let's just assume that he with her, okay? Even if she consented, it's still not illegal. She was over the legal age of consent. It was not illegal. It's disgusting, but not illegal. And from what I found, the only confirmed proof that they met was in London. Again, she was 17, which is the legal age of consent. Now, this is the part that was in the article that really caught my attention. It says that since that time, when the prince said he had no relationship with her, her attorneys have made multiple attempts to engage with Andrew in discussions about her allegations. What that says to me, they've been trying to get money from him. It says, quote, since 2015, we have been trying to have a dialogue with Prince Andrew or his attorneys. We've given him every opportunity to provide the context he might have. We've tried to reach a resolution without the need of litigation. What that says to me is they've been trying to fleece money out of this guy. And he's like, you know what? What I did was not illegal. I'm not going to pay you. Now, this girl has already settled 2 federal lawsuits she filed in connection with her allegations that she was recruited by Maxwell and Epstein into this lifestyle. You don't want to victim blame here, okay? But Maxwell is saying that this girl has lied repeatedly, she's lied often, and that she's making up stories as she goes. What this girl had, by her own information that she filed with the courts, was flights all over the United States and all over the world on private planes where she got to meet rich and famous people. At any point, and again, I'm really not trying to victim shame, but at any point, this girl could have reached out to somebody and said, I'm being trafficked, help me, help me. But no, she flew private jets, she stayed in the best hotels, she met interesting people, she asked them if she wanted to. You're going to tell me that Prince Andrew, because I just don't believe it. Sorry. I completely agree with this comment made by Barely Existing on Twitter. This girl lied under oath, and the fact that she constantly is settling out of court and wants to settle out of court means this is about money, not justice. When Andrew was asked point blank, this is what he said about the situation.
No, nothing. Never happened.
Now, in this country, I'm sure everywhere else in the world, you're innocent until you're proven guilty. Prince Andrew denies remembering this girl. He denies that he had with her. So everybody's asking, where did that picture come from? You know, the one where he's got his arm around her. And a lot of people have pointed out, this is a very simple explanation, which I can totally see. Prince Andrew meets thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. They were like, here, would you like to meet Prince Andrew? And she was like, hello, Prince Andrew, let's take a picture together. They took a picture, and that's as far as it went. That very well could be what happened. Personally, I see this lawsuit as the paper did. This is a legal fishing expedition. They're going to try to hook him a fish, man. But what it comes down to is she's claiming that she saw him at 3 different times. She's like, I can prove I was there. Okay, good for you. Now prove Andrew was there. Prove you had with him. Prove that he knew you were an underage person being trafficked. You got a long uphill climb. But the way this article and these articles read to me, she tried to fleece a lot of money out of them. And he was like, I'm not paying. And here you go, a lawsuit. Now, I want to throw in here this article that says that this girl admitted that she lied under oath about being trafficked. She apparently admitted while under oath in 2014 that her allegations about having foreign presidents was a lie. If you look up this article and read it, there's actually a long series of lies that she's told. There's dozens of contradictions in her accounts, and she admitted to lying under oath about being by other public figures. You know, credibility is everything, people. We all know what happened next, don't we? He settled the case. Here's the next bit of information for you. Settled the case brought against him. Against Virginia, I think it's pronounced Guthrie. I'm very disappointed by this. I would have liked to have seen it go to court. She has been a proven liar and perjurer, and I think they would have made mincemeat out of her on the stand. So yes, I'm very disappointed that it was settled. I understand why it was settled. I'm sure that Prince Charles and Prince William were, telling him to settle, pushing him to settle. It's the Queen's Jubilee. Come on, let's go. But I'm still very disappointed. Virginia Guthrie told people this was not about money. It's never about money. It's only about justice. But as soon as they waved enough money in her face, there went the case. Now, we really don't know how much money. It's private and confidential. People are guesstimating how much, but the truth is we don't know how much. All right, let's go back to this woman. This woman is known to be a liar, and she perjured herself under oath. She is, like, for instance, she was forced to admit that she lied in her 2014 statement where she said she had been trafficked to some foreign presidents, and come to find out that was a lie. In 1999, she claimed that 2 friends of Mr. Epstein's assaulted her, but they were unable to pursue the case because of the victim's lack of credibility after finding glaring contradictions in her accounts of what happened. Oh, leave it to Netflix. Netflix actually did a documentary about Epstein, and there were multiple problems, and this was one of them, okay? Stick with me. Virginia said she had relations with Prince Andrew at Epstein's Island, and the only person who backed up her story was a maintenance worker named Steve Scully. And he gives this whole story. But had Netflix checked it, they would have found that Scully claimed all the events took place in 2004 when Virginia was already married with children living in Australia and hadn't been in contact with Epstein for years. Now, Virginia also claimed that she had been trafficked to Alan Dershowitz. But there were so many contradictions in the claims. that even Virginia's legal team put out a statement saying it was wrong to accuse him. Now that's saying something. And just FYI, another accuser against Dershowitz was somebody named Sarah Ransom, who was in the Netflix documentary and who also stated in court documents that she had had encounters with Dershowitz at Epstein's behest when she was in her 20s. And Dershowitz said, "I never met her and I don't know anything about it." So this woman, Ransom, tells Maureen Callahan of the New York Post in 2016 that she had tapes of herself having relations with Richard Branson, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and also had a tape of Hillary Clinton. But when she was asked to produce the tapes, she said they had been sent to Europe for their protection because Clinton had arranged for the CIA to kill her. And then she said she was under the protection of the KGB. And she later confessed to another journalist that she had lied and the tapes didn't exist. And that fact was not mentioned in the Netflix documentary. And the moral of that story, ladies and gentlemen, is remember that Netflix produces content for entertainment. They're not real. Their crap isn't checked. They just put it out there to get you to click. Got it? All right. So some of the lies that she's been caught in are lying about being trafficked to the daughter of a famous marine biologist. And just so you know, she claimed that she was trafficked to Jacques Cousteau's daughter. She was caught lying about being trafficked to millionaires Glenn and Eva Dubin. She was lying about being trafficked to senators. She was lying about becoming pregnant with Epstein's baby. I mean, the woman couldn't tell the truth if it smacked her in the face. That's why I wanted this to go into court. I feel on cross-examination, they would have made mincemeat out of her. So Andrew's attorney said, well, you've been showing this picture to everybody and it was faked. And we would like to see the original photo. And of course, Virginia Guthrie Roberts now says, oh, I lost it. Really? Piers Morgan, you guys know how I love him. He chimed in and called Andrew a sniveling little coward. I completely agree with that. Now everybody is speculating how much money is she getting, that the Queen ordered it, that the Queen's going to pay it. None of that is true, as far as I can tell. It's just not true. Andrew is a grown man, and he's solely responsible for whatever he has to pay. Now, Angela Levin's been talking to people, and according to her, while Prince Andrew's not allowed to speak about the case, Virginia can talk about it till she's blue in the face. But as Tamarindo said, which version? Because she literally changed her story every 5 minutes. Her friends have stepped up and said she was texting them, ooh, I got to sleep with Prince Andrew, how cool. So for those of you who are worried that she's going to ruin the Queen's Jubilee, apparently under the terms of the settlement, she's not allowed to speak about it till next year. Good. And this story really got me thinking because I feel like they settled it to clear the way for Andrew to attend Prince Philip's service of Thanksgiving and the other events for the Platinum Jubilee. He may have been stripped of his stuff, but he's still a member of the family. And Philip was still his father. And Dan Wooten pointed out that Prince Andrew will never be able to clear his name now because he settled. And when you settle, it makes you look guilty. I agree. Now, in a crazy twist of fate, Epstein's ex-wife is now suing Virginia for $10 million because she said Virginia named her as a recruiter, and she said that's absolutely not true. I wonder if Virginia will settle with her. For those of you who said Scotland Yard didn't do their job when they were first investigating, I think they did the investigation, found out about this girl's perjury and her lies and her changing stories and said, you know what, we're not going to go any further with this because she's not credible, which is what happened with some of the other complaints that she made. And everybody screamed, oh, Scotland Yard's not doing their job. I think they did their job and found out that she was a liar. That's why they never went any further with it. I'm going to end this with basically pointing something out. Number one, Virginia was over the age of consent in the UK. She was over the age of consent in New York. So if she's sleeping with these people, you can't charge somebody with assault if the person you're sleeping with is consenting and they're over the age. Second of all, she had a passport, and because she was 17, her parents had to sign for the passport. And in between all of that, she was going home to her parents. She could have said something to her parents at any time, but she didn't. It's already been proven that she was flying around on private jets, staying in the best hotels, meeting interesting people. I think she enjoyed it. I think she was liking what she was doing. And then I think she saw a chance to make some money. The woman has now become a multimillionaire from settling all these cases, even though she's a proven perjurer in court. That just doesn't sit well with me. I have the utmost sympathy for people who really are trafficked, but I don't believe that she was. I'm sorry. You know, people that are trafficked are isolated from their friends and their family. This girl was going home intermittently to sleep in her own bed and be around her family. She was texting and in contact with friends. She had a phone. I'm just not buying it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has caught us up to where we are today. And now, big news has come out. So let's just jump in so we can catch up on that. The articles are coming out now that Giselle Maxwell, who's in prison, she gave an interview and she says that the photo of Prince Andrew with 17-year-old Virginia Roberts is a fake. Now, let's not forget that Andrew's attorneys asked for the copy of that photo and she said she lost the original and they were never able to hand it over. But then this photo showed up. I'm sure most of you who follow my channel know by now that I am very not tech savvy. I know there's Photoshop, but I have absolutely no clue how to do this. Like, forget it. But if this is the original photo and Giselle is able to hand this over as the original, that pretty much clears Andrew. Now, let's not forget that Virginia Giuffre is a liar who was caught perjuring herself. The person who supposedly took this photo is Jeffrey Epstein, and it supposedly was taken in March of 2001, and it came to light February 27th in the Mail on Sunday, February 27th of 2011, and has basically been the symbol of Miss Giuffre's case. Remember, Andrew has always said that nothing ever happened, that the photo had been doctored. He said that from the beginning. What did I tell you guys when I referenced back to the Richard Jewell case? For those of you who don't know who Richard Jewell was, he was associated with the Atlanta bombing during the Olympics. Everybody said he was guilty. Everybody said he had done it. He was vilified, and come to find out he was innocent. Now, this article even brings up the Alan Dershowitz thing because let's not forget that Maxwell's claims about the picture above contradict her 2015 email sent to her by Alan Dershowitz. You know, she replied, and in the message, she said, "Do you know whether this photo of Andrew and Virginia is real? You are in the background." And 11 minutes later, she wrote back and said, "It looks real. I think it is." But now she says, if you see a photograph and it's a photograph of you in your home and someone says to you, "Is that a picture of you?" you don't question it. It would never occur to me somebody would have created a photograph or, done something with a picture. I recognize the surroundings. Nothing more than that. She put that in an email. She also said in legal documents for a 2016 defamation case, she didn't believe it was a true picture. There you go. She said she handed the original picture over to the FBI in 2011 when they visited her home in Australia, which is where she lived at the time. We don't know if the original was returned. She said it might be in storage. According to documents released in the same case, the two FBI agents that collected 20 original photographs from Giuffre were, one of them supposedly had the one with her and Andrew. So Miss Maxwell, who you just saw on the back of that picture, she's 60 years old now. She's serving 20 years for trafficking teenage girls. She says, quote, "I feel so bad for Andrew. I follow what is happening to him." She said, "He's paying a price for being my friend. That's it, for my association with him." But she says, "But I consider him a friend and I dearly care about him." And she said that Andrew is a victim of faked evidence. Wow. She said lots of people have been impacted by this story, and friends of hers who never even met Epstein lost their jobs. People who had nothing to do with him whatsoever were canceled. It's part of the cancel culture, she said. It's been a very heavy price, and it's been difficult for a lot of people. Now, we know that she has a lot to say. Unfortunately, She says she can't remark on Epstein, Prince Andrew, or even her husband, who, by the way, dumped her in a prison phone call, until her appeal has been heard. That is completely understandable. She even refused to deny reports that she and Andrew were once a couple. You know, she's like, I have to go through my appeal. I can discuss nothing until after the appeal, but then I'm super happy to address all of it with you. There you go. But getting back to that photo, she flat out said, quote, "The photo is not real." And it was taken at Maxwell's London home in March of 2001 and shows her standing in the background. She said flat out, the photo is not real. There was never an original one produced. And like I mentioned to you guys before in other videos, Andrew was asked to settle that case by his mother because it was her platinum jubilee. It was being taken over by what had happened with him. People were saying he paid her 15 million. No, he didn't. I think he paid her like 3 million pounds. The Queen did not help him pay it. He paid it himself, but he has never been convicted of anything. He has repeatedly said that he settled it out of court to make it go away, but he denies that he did anything wrong. Yeah, I agree. Now, in an interesting twist, not only is Jeffrey Epstein's ex-wife suing Virginia Giuffre for making claims, but now Rena O is also suing her, saying that Virginia Giuffre assaulted her during an encounter with Jeffrey Epstein. And Virginia Giuffre is accusing her of being a liar and pretending to be a victim to get a payout. Ooh, if that's not the pot calling the kettle black. Miss O maintains she was also a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, and she gave an interview where she said that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who we just talked about, tried to traffic her to older men when she was in her early 20s. Now, Ms. Giuffre is fighting that lawsuit, and in May filed a counterclaim where she said that O cut and slashed her during sadomasochistic acts for Epstein's pleasure. Of course, Miss O said that never happened, and it was Giuffre who assaulted her during an encounter with Epstein in one of his infamous massage rooms. Wow. She said she was called into a massage room. Giuffre and Epstein were both waiting for her, and Giuffre started touching her, and then, it's horrible. Now, O's attorney said this is not about questioning what happened to Giuffre. This is about affirming what happened to Miss O's and standing up against someone who's claiming she's not the one. They're not saying that Giuffre wasn't a survivor and she wasn't a victim, but they're saying that O was as well. And for some reason, Virginia targeted Rena O and made these false allegations against her, saying that Rena wasn't a survivor and wasn't a victim, and that's patently untrue. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. So, could it be that Andrew was innocent all along and he was vilified like Richard Jewell was? Very interesting thought there. You know, I want your comments below. Now, housekeeping item before we go any further. I want to let you all know that there will be no more videos on Sundays. Sunday is going to be the day. I need Saturday to work on my Patreon video for Sunday. So don't expect any more videos on Sunday. As of right now, I'm still putting them up Monday through Saturday. Now, if anybody wants to join us on Patreon, Sunday was my last day of Hawaii information. Video 3 went up, and now next week we're going to start with the dieting information. All right, so I hope you guys will join. The link is in the description box. So leave those comments below. You know I'm reading them. Don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. You can email me. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund and to my thanks button, thank you so much. Don't forget about my Patreon. Everything is in the description box. And as always, you guys, have a great day.